Coming up next on Sbu TV News, Bona Responds questions its future with the university, young voters choose between Clinton and Obama in the Democratic primaries, and St. Bonaventure announces a tuition raise for next year.
Welcome to this edition of Sbu TV News. I'm Kaitlyn Sawyer.
And I'm Conor Hale. Concerns over a new St. Bonaventure policy may cause a community service organization to consider dropping its affiliation with the university. Kaitlyn Dean has more.
Bona Responds was created after Hurricane Katrina by Dr. James Mahar, an assistant finance professor.
Made 8 trips to the Gulf. We've made a trip to Enterprise, Alabama, to Gassville, Arkansas after tornadoes.
The group has traveled to Bradford and Buffalo to help clean up storm damage and has had several local service days here. The minutes from a June 18th Board of Trustees meeting state that this resolution was unanimously approved. That a 5% administration assessment on all gifts other than unrestricted Bonaventure Fund contributions and ineligible grants be created, with exceptions to be approved by the Development Committee of the Board of Trustees.
This is not an uncommon thing for colleges and universities to do.
This means that the university's advancement operation gets 5% of Bona Responds fundraising money if the money was considered by the donor to be a charitable gift.
And Bona Responds has an issue with this.
We have thought about what we would do if the 5% doesn't get changed. A couple national groups have approached us and asked us to become part of them.
These groups include Hands On and Randy's Rangers, but no decision has been made.
There's no absolute. I'll never say never. I'll never say yes, we would do it. And it would be something we would consider.
This is the first year for this policy, and maybe this is something we need, to look at or clarify.
Mahar said he has faith that Bona Responds and the university will be able to work this out.
They're good people. They're going to do the right thing in the end.
For Sbu TV, I'm Kaitlyn Dean.
Under the policy, someone can request a gift not to be assessed, so all of the money would go to where they direct it. Their request would then be reviewed by the Development Committee of the Board of Trustees.
The spring semester is nearly history, and at St. Bonaventure University, students may be stressed about the return to school this fall and how it's going to affect their families' wallets. Vanessa Diaz takes a look.
If you are a student or a parent of a student attending St. Bonaventure University, it is most likely you received one of these. A letter giving details on what's happening around campus, then going on to say, "We regret to inform you the Board of Trustees of St. Bonaventure University has approved a 5% increase in tuition and room and board expenses."
My first reaction was like, oh, why is it going up? Because my mom was like, you better get better grades because paying more money.
I think that the way that it's increasing and salaries aren't increasing that quickly, so in a couple of years it's going to be like impossible to pay for an education.
But for people paying for college by themselves, it definitely adds up, and I don't know, maybe they should reconsider. I know that there's a lot of expenses and stuff, but it adds up in the long run, I think.
Why does the university need the increase?
Look at higher education institutions across the country. You will see that, generally speaking, costs increase, salaries increase, costs of living increase. That's kind of the nature of the economy.
Most students and parents are wondering, what does that extra 5% go to?
It is a human resources intensive industry. That means the majority of our money goes to pay the people that make this operation work.
According to a document we found on www.senate.gov, tuition for St. Bonaventure University was $3,845 back in 1982. Now, we did some math, and we figured out if the university keeps increasing tuition every year by 5%, the freshman class of 2008 will be paying $27,639, not including room and board, by the time they graduate. The question is, will this be a yearly trend?
If there needs to be an increase, we're able to say to students, look students in the eye and say, we're doing the best job we can for you, we're providing a high quality education, and we will moderate these increases to the extent possible.
For Sbu TV, I'm Vanessa Diaz.
We also did the numbers out to 10 years from now, And at 5% increases a year, plus an equivalent increase in room and board, it might cost over $55,000 a year to go to St. Bonaventure by 2018.
The parents of a former St. Bonaventure student involved in a hit-and-run incident that left a University of Connecticut freshman dead last winter agreed to a plea in an appearance in Allegheny Town Court. The Alvino parents paid $4,660 in fines and received no jail time as a result of a deal offered by Cattaraugus County District Attorney Edward Sharkley. The deal dropped a felony charge of tampering with evidence and a misdemeanor charge of conspiracy. Alvinos pled guilty to misdemeanor counts of attempted tampering with evidence and hindering the prosecution. They admitted they went to St. Bonaventure, picked up their son's car that had hit and killed Carly Wines, and drove it back home to Long Island to be fixed. They waited 2 days to call police. The Alvino's son, Anthony, was sentenced to 3 years and 1 month in prison for misconduct with a motor vehicle resulting in death and evading responsibility. In the ongoing Democratic primaries, Senators Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are still neck and neck, but Obama has consistently cornered the votes of 18 to 29-year-olds. I took a closer look. While Senator Hillary Clinton came out on top in the Texas, Ohio, and Rhode Island primaries, Senator Barack Obama claimed most of the youth vote. In those 3 states, more 18 to 29-year-olds voted for Obama by an average margin of 17%. Obama claims 70% of the votes cast by 18 to 24-year-olds in Ohio alone. Unfortunately for Obama, 18 to 29-year-olds only made up about 1/6 of the total voters.
Especially the Democratic Party has almost made it their mission to attract young voters. Barack Obama especially has been amazing at energizing the youth of this country and just getting them interested and just wanting to participate.
The trend continued in New York, where 55% of college-age voters chose Obama over Hillary on February 5th, but Senator Clinton won the state with 57% of the total vote.
Prosecutors in Pierce County, Washington, are considering aggravated murder charges against a Fort Lewis soldier. 22-year-old Yvette Gonzalez Davila is accused of killing 2 married soldiers in their homes and taking the couple's baby. CNN has more on the story.
An eerie feeling in this Parkland neighborhood today. A Pierce County cruiser, the only evidence that a young couple was murdered in their home this weekend.
The military police came about some information and gave us a call. We came here and checked and found the 2 victims and worked it forward from there, and were able to get a suspect in custody.
This is the suspect, a 22-year-old woman in the back seat of a patrol car last night. Police believe she shot and killed the victims, who are both medics at Madigan Army Hospital at Fort Lewis. Investigators say the suspect is a member of the Honor Guard there, but investigators are still trying to learn more about her.
We're working with the military police to try and determine what led up to this and what the relationship was before the homicide. At this point, we just don't know that.
Police do know after the killings, the shooter kidnapped the couple's 7-month-old baby boy and took him back to Fort Lewis. He has been recovered and is now in child protective custody.
They just seem nice people. I never really would have expected nothing like this.
Neighbors here are in shock. They say the young couple was happy, didn't seem to have a lot of friends, but certainly had no enemies. James Black rents a home from the victims and spoke with them on Saturday, the day police believe they were murdered.
In the morning, we was getting up and we sat outside and talked for a second, just how you doing and stuff. And then everything seemed normal. It didn't seem like nothing was going on. So it's like really a big shock to me.
Chelsea Clinton. You've seen her face for years, but rarely have heard her voice. She's now a force on the campaign trail, talking to young voters on behalf of her mother. CNN's Gary Tuchman has more.
A president when she was 12. Chelsea Clinton has been in the national public eye since 1992.
Anita, nice to meet you, Anita.
But her fiercely guarded privacy makes many realize they've never even heard her speak.
Jordan, nice to meet you, Jordan.
Hi, I'm Thad. Nice to meet you.
Thad?
Yes.
Hi, Thad. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Joe. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Joe. Nice to meet you. Well, thanks for welcoming me.
She's speaking now on behalf of her mother. We're in the University of Pennsylvania Student Union with her as she's about to take the stage, where she's greeted like a rock star as the sun gets ready to set on the chilly Philadelphia campus.
I'm really excited to be here in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania.
With the crucial Pennsylvania primary coming up, Chelsea Clinton says she will take any question students want to ask. Nothing off limits. She's asked about homosexuals.
My mother has supported civil unions for longer than I've been alive.
She's asked about the Iraq War and General Petraeus.
My mother's on the Armed Services Committee, and so she does listen to General Petraeus. but she disagrees with General Petraeus.
What will your mom actually do to keep jobs in this country?
If a company wants to take a job overseas, that's its prerogative, but we as American taxpayers should not be subsidizing that.
Chelsea Clinton, who lives in New York and works for a hedge fund, comes off as poised. She answers questions without notes. She's well prepared for a question about all the Bushes and Clintons in the White House.
What are your thoughts on that Bush-Clinton pattern?
Well, one, I wish we hadn't had a second Bush.
Her says she has campaigned 30 states, from Hawaii to Arkansas to Wisconsin, where she made an interesting comparison.
I mean, my mother is more fiscally conservative than my father, and certainly this president.
And she is not shy about diving into campaign controversies.
My mom is fighting to see the delegates from Florida, and I don't know what the Democratic Party will do.
Her candid Q&A sessions are particularly notable because she has no such sessions with reporters.
And this is actually a perfect question.
A college journalist might slip in a question at these events, but for those of us notably past college age, nothing. Even though she's no longer 12, Chelsea Clinton has a no-interview policy that's rigorously enforced.
It's easy for a lot of us to still think of Chelsea Clinton as a kid, but she's 28 years old. Her father, when he ran for Congress in his first try at political office, was also 28.
As she leaves the Penn campus on the way to a campaign stop in Wyoming, I ask one of her top aides if I can talk to her. He momentarily surprises me when he says yes, but it has to be off camera and off the record. For us, that's not particularly helpful. Gary Tuchman, CNN, Philadelphia.
2008 presidential election may be one of the most symbolic in U.S. history. Amanda Fuller explains.
It's National Women's History Month, and for the first time in U.S. history, a woman, Hillary Clinton, is a major campaigner for a presidential nomination.
It is going to be a historic nomination because it's either the first black man who has the realistic chance of winning or the first woman who has a realistic chance of winning.
But is America ready for a woman president?
When people get right down to saying, are we going to put a woman in this job, I'm not so sure everybody's going to say yes to that.
A recent CBS poll found that 92% of Americans claim they'd vote for a female president, but only 55% think America is ready.
Actually, we look a little bit behind the times if you look around the world and go how many women have led their countries.
Great Britain's former Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, was cast the nickname the Iron Lady. Stereotypes about femininity have followed Clinton throughout her campaign.
If the woman comes off too soft, think Hillary in New Hampshire, oh, well, she's too emotional to be the president. But if she comes too hard, oh, well, she's a fill-in language that the FCC would not appreciate.
For Sbu TV, I'm Amanda Fuller.
Coming up next on Sbu TV News, a man tells the story of contracting hepatitis at a health clinic, and are pit bulls really as bad as they're made out to be?
The Michael Vick case brought plight to the American Pit Bull Terrier. I took a closer look to see if these dogs really live up to their bad name. We'll have it in a second. The little rascal's four-legged friend, Petey, was a Pit Bull Terrier. So was Stubby, the first canine to fight for our country in World War I. This breed is part of American history, but their reputation is the pits.
The type of dog that they are doesn't make them inherently vicious.
Irresponsible owners are the main reason these dogs are misunderstood.
They're very eager to please.
That's why they were the breed of choice for a fighting dog.
So if you tell them, go fetch that bone, here it is, I brought it for you. And you say, go take that bone out of that leg, and they're going to say, here it is, I got it for you.
Dogfighting was outlawed in 1976, but neglect continues. Jamie and his wife adopted Sophie and Setzer 10 years ago. Both dogs had been badly abused.
Her leg
was broken, the growth plate, the hip joint was broken, and the pelvis was broken.
They've never harmed another animal. They've never snapped at another person. You got to figure them out.
I know this because I own one. I adopted Davidson as a puppy, and he's now 5 years old. Raising a pit bull requires patience and responsibility.
They're strong-willed. They're strong. They're hard-headed.
Oh, turn around and sit down.
The biggest thing with getting any dog is to make sure that that particular breed fits into your lifestyle. Pit bulls need exercise, they like to play.
A walk is a great way for the dog to burn off energy in a positive activity. Come on.
For Sbu TV, I'm Kaitlyn Sawyer. For more information on the American Pit Bull Terrier, visit your local library.
Hundreds of patients are waiting for blood test results after finding out they may have been exposed to hepatitis and HIV at a clinic in Las Vegas. There are hundreds of others who aren't even aware they're at risk. CNN spoke with one patient who was infected, and he showed us how it changed his life.
And they've been picking and probing at me with x-rays, slides, everything else, biopsies, and I'm tired.
Every move Michael Washington makes is taken with caution after contracting hepatitis C last July during a procedure at the Endoscopy Center of Southern Nevada.
She cannot come in contact with my body fluids or anything. I have to be very careful with the needles and stuff I use. I have to put them in a container so they can be disposed of properly.
By his side, his wife of 29 years, Josephine, whose life has also been altered after what she calls unnecessary practices by doctors.
I've been extremely angry. I am very angry with them.
Due to previous illnesses, Washington cannot be treated for hepatitis C. Though some health officials say the contamination by unsafe injection practices can be narrowed down to specific days, the Washingtons are worried there are more hepatitis C cases out there.
And when I read that it could have only happened in 2 days, how can you say that? You cannot determine it could only happen in 2 days. You don't know what days these vials were contaminated. He has no idea. That's just blowing smoke.
Michael Washington says life has changed so much, he understands if his wife wants to move on.
Try to control the anger and the depression so it doesn't reflect back to my wife. And I hope that she's able to deal with the changes that I'm going through.
I'm not going into place. That's come on. My vow said for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. I had breast cancer years ago, and he didn't leave me.
It's support they both need while they learn to accept what's happened and figure out what's next.
The Washingtons have hired an attorney to help with their case.
Are your kids getting enough art? Where's the music? I don't hear any. Arts programs are being cut, making it hard for my kids and yours. Arts education is important, so it goes. Fight for it, because the less arts kids get, the more it shows. Rapping, painting, or creating music, arts education is key. How's that, Mom?
Remember what I told you, Chuck. Less bebop and more hip-hop.
Art. Ask for more. AmericansForTheArts.org.
I come from Ukraine. For 52 years, I'm in United States. For the first time, I felt like I have a right to be on this earth. This country, if you put your mind in anything, you will succeed. We are free. We can travel. We can go any place. We can, whatever we want. Freedom to me means my life.
A bed and breakfast is causing quite a stir in Washington state. The inn draws vacationers with an unusual pastime, watching Border Patrol agents on the hunt. CNN has the story.
We're totally different than most bed and breakfasts. Any of the kids or adults that have ever stayed up and watched have seen something.
What they see is the Border Patrol at work, because 125 people have been arrested trying to slip across in the past 3 years. Bob Boulay says guests catch it all.
They're excited, they tell us. And normally we see lights and sirens within 3 to 4 minutes.
But there's much more than meets the eye.
2 Border Patrol right there.
Upstairs, a highlight for some is an antique bed from a brothel. Boulet's favorite spot?
The captain's room. And the captain's room has a fireplace, a two-person jacuzzi, a fantastic view.
Travis Kane and his friends are staying in that room tonight.
I had no idea that there was so much traffic through Smuggler's Yard.
The Smuggler's Inn gives guests special night vision scopes to take in the spectacle.
Just taking a look through the night vision goggle here. Nobody's running through currently. Yeah, we definitely plan on coming out and taking a look throughout the night.
Coming up in sports, the St. Bonaventure Outlaws travel overseas for some postseason play. The women's basketball team enters the Atlantic 10 Championship, and men's basketball plays Dayton in the Riley Center. Welcome back to Sbu TV. Michael Postles joins us.
Opportunity for early spring training.
The New York State Men's Rugby Championships challenged 3 colleges on the green fields of Ireland for their spring break. Carolyn Bayard has the story.
For the St. Bonaventure University men's rugby team, a trip to Ireland meant much more than an opportunity for early spring training.
Born in Dublin, actually, and that was the first place we visited.
Seen another country, seen another culture. I've never been to Ireland before.
The places we drove through were gorgeous. The hills, all the sheep, and just the sights were unreal.
And we went to the Guinness factory. It was a good time.
After hearing about how other teams benefited from the Ireland trip,
teams have gone on these type of tours and come back and won, tournament after tournament. And
Coach Clarence Picard decided the tour could help strengthen the Outlaws, who are already ranked 16th college team in the nation.
He's trying to build the program a lot and trying to take it in the right direction and get Bonaventure's name out there.
The club team raised money for its trip through fundraisers and donations from family, friends, and rugby alumni.
The alumni are there, to financially support us and really give us, the knowledge that they have from playing for so many years.
The Outlaws played 3 games in Ireland and trained with top international rugby coaches.
They coached top teams, top players, so they knew training drills and stuff that we'd never seen before.
Having someone at the top level of coaching just teach you things,
The team was victorious in Dublin against Trinity College and against the Athlone Buccaneers in Galway, but were defeated at their last game in Limerick.
That was probably the toughest game that we had. We got beat, but it was a good experience.
We obviously got a lot better this year, and we showed that by winning the New York State Championship. The trip to Ireland helped us with team building, going out with each other every night, like sleeping in hostels together. Definitely form a better team.
After winning its first road game of the season against St. Louis, the Bonaventure men's basketball team squared off versus Dayton at the Riley Center. George Blas has the highlights.
Before tip-off, seniors Michael Lee, Tyler Ralph, and Zerion Ferretti were honored before playing the final home game of their careers. The game also featured the return of former head coach Anthony Solomon, who's now an assistant coach for Dayton. The Flyers came out of the gates on fire. They made 9 of their first 10 shots, including 6 from three-point range, to go up 24-7 after 6.5 minutes of play. Dayton shot 57% in the first half. The Bonnies began to chip away at the lead behind their seniors. First, Ralph knocked down a three-pointer to bring the brown and white within 10. Then, after a miss by Ralph, junior Tyler Benson grabbed the offensive rebound. While tight-roping the sideline, he found Lee underneath the basket for the lay-in. Later on, Lee knocked down a pair of threes to cut Dayton's lead to 1. On the next possession, Lee stole the ball, and on the fast break slammed it home to give St. Bonaventure its first lead of the game. Late in the half, with the Bonnies down by 4, a reverse layup from Benson and a pair of free throws from Ralph left the score knotted at 43 at halftime. The game remained close throughout the second half. Ralph drove the baseline and converted a spinning fadeaway jumper to give St. Bonaventure a 52-49 lead. The Bonnies increased the lead with another three-pointer by Lee. He finished with a career-high 27 points to go with a game-high 9 rebounds. After the Flyers recaptured the lead, Ferretti nailed a 3 from the corner to put the Bonnies back up by 1. With less than 5 minutes left, Dayton went back ahead by 3 as the shot clock expired. Then Benson appeared to be fouled on a 3-point attempt, but the officials only awarded him 2 free throws. With under a minute remaining, Dayton's Andre Sandoval missed a shot from long range, but the Flyers grabbed the big offensive rebound. Sandoval got a second chance from the corner, and this time he connected to seal the victory for Dayton. Despite Lee, Ralph, and Ferretti combining for 63 of the team's 73 points on senior night, the Bonnies came up short, losing 78-73.
You can't have empty possessions. And secondly, they shot the heck out of the ball. The first 10 minutes of the game, it was like playing a horse.
Played my heart out, man. He challenged us every day in practice, man. I really just appreciate that, because without him, I probably wouldn't have been anywhere close to where I play now.
It's tough. It'll always be tough, but I played as hard as I could, and I have no regrets.
The Bonnies concluded their season by visiting Fordham on March 8th. The women's basketball team concluded its regular season with 18 wins, its most ever at the Division I level. The team entered the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament as the 7th seed and faced Rhode Island in the first round on March 7th. Earlier in the week, sophomore Dana Mitchell was selected to the All-Conference second team. Mitchell captured the A-10 scoring title after averaging 18.2 points per game. Junior Kaitlyn Murray earned a spot on the academic all-conference team. Murray earned a 4.0 grade point average in biology while posting a career best 10.1 points per game on the court. The Buffalo Sabres faced the Washington Capitals Wednesday night. Both teams are fighting for the last spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs. The Washington Capitals started the game by feeding their superstar Alexander Ovechkin, who put the Caps up by 1. After a Kotelik goal, Viktor Kozlov hit Nicholas Backstrom for this backhand goal. In the third period, Alexander Ovechkin netted his NHL-leading 54th goal of the season and a 3-1 Washington victory. The Sabres travel to Carolina on Saturday. That's all for sports.
That's all for this edition of Sbu TV. I'm Conor Hale.
And I'm Kaitlyn Sawyer. For Michael Postles and all of us here at Sbu TV, have a great week.